I don't know. I watched it on Amazon. I rented it on my parents' account, so they paid £3.50 so I could watch it.
Were you on a Sky box?
Yeah, I have a Skybox. I also work for Sky. Why would it not come up?
I just searched Hero and it was
That's
there.
what I did. And it came up with Marvel's heroes, DC heroes, heroes. The funniest things it kept coming up with, like 4 or 5 of them, were heroes of the Holocaust. Oscar Schindler. Why can I not watch this here? Why can I watch the film I actually want to watch?
I genuinely didn't think there would be any heroes of the Holocaust, but I'm so glad that you found some. Hello and welcome to the Three Takes of Stupidity. It's our final part of the Ancient History Trilogy, and we've actually gone too far back this time. Gone too far back.
Is it more back than the others? We're back.
It's
not.
more back. It's definitely more.
No, it's not.
It's definitely more back. It is. It's
It's
200
less
BC.
back.
It's 200 BC.
Yeah, 300 is 400.
400 BC.
Is 400 BC, but I don't know, where are you?
We've come forward to this modern movie.
Ironically, as I learnt this week, the ancient history time period is actually a real thing. I thought it was just meant really old.
This has been derailed. This week. This week, it's people flying through the air with that weird music underneath it. It's a Chinese epic hero. That wasn't actually what I wrote down. I don't know why I added that second bit in. Please welcome Shan Musi.
Is that me?
No, it's James. Yan Musi.
Ni hao.
Ni hao, Yan Musi. Yes, we've got hello and thank you nailed. and also with us is Chayanduli. Chayanduli. I think it's Shy.
I'm not going to even pretend to try.
From the chandelier.
And I, of course, am Yali Shanda, which is actually the easiest one. It sort of sounds like my name. And to celebrate us doing this film, we've all grown our hair, and Chandler has maintained his nickname of Broken Sword.
I am
And
always
just to
broken.
clarify, Alex wasn't being racist. He was actually trying to pronounce our names in legitimate Chinese phonetics.
But now you've said it, it makes you sound racist.
It does. It really, really does.
Fuck.
And considering your brand, it's quite bad.
Don't air quote my brand. Okay, boys, before we get stuck into... Ah, shit. How do I word it? I know what I was going to say.
I never get it right.
Don't.
You always forget.
I never write it down.
We're going to be doing this podcast, like, hopefully for the next however many years, and every single...
For decades.
You go, what the fuck do I do? Where
No,
do
I
I
know
write
how
it
to-
down? What did I want to say? The fuck?
This is why we can never do a live show. What do I normally say?
Look, yeah, I just need a shit segue.
You were fine. You were going fine. It was before we get to that. What have you guys been watching? That was all you wanted to say.
Okay, boys, before we get stuck into doing our part for the UK-China trade deal, what have you been up to this week?
Okay, fair enough. That was quite a good segue. I'll let Alex take this one.
I know you're gonna have to keep that all in. Stay
Not all of it. Fuck off.
What have I been doing? I had a kebab recently, but as a side note to the kebab, I also started watching Fresh Meat again, which is very
what a
sad
show.
because series 1 of Fresh Meat, I started watching it when I'd finished uni, so when I was in my most depressed, like most fucking rock solid post-uni blues ever.
Never
And
let go.
Now I just watch it. Yeah, now I just watch it just to give myself, like, I don't know, a hit of serotonin from uni. but it doesn't work anymore. I watch it now and I'm like, oh, it's so good, man. I wish I was in a house with five strangers and some guy who doesn't exist, just with someone just like slathering up a raw chicken in the kitchen every day, and you don't even question it. Because that's just like you're just like that's their culture. That's where they come from in Lincoln.
Reminds me of my old housemate Steve. Shout out to Steve. Steve, you know, in like Asda, I think it is, or I don't know what shop you could go to get this, but you could get the pack of extremely cheap bacon, but you've got about 24 rashers.
Oh no, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
And it's like vacuum packed, and it's all a bit mangled. Yeah, so he bought one of those. And he needed dinner, and so he just put all 24 rashers into a high-sided frying pan, cooked them all. But when you put that much meat in a pan, it just steams, right? So there's no colour on any of it. It's all grey. The greyest bacon you've ever seen. It's been so cooked it's wrinkly. And I know you know exactly what I mean. When you've overcooked bacon, but it's not gone crispy, and it just wrinkles like an old person's face.
That's so grim.
24 of those in a pan. And then I can't remember if he ate the whole lot. I think he might have saved some in the fridge, but he basically just ate a shit ton of bacon rashers, nothing else for dinner.
Steve's dead. Steve's dead now. He got heart disease at 22.
I'm choosing to remember him eating it out of the pan. And I'd like to think that the pan went in the fridge as well.
Oh, no. Steve, man.
Rogue opinion. I've never watched Fresh Meat. I've watched like the first 3 episodes. I couldn't get into it and just never watched it.
Well, you went to a posh uni, so I don't think you'll understand any of it.
Yeah.
I lived above a laundrette that you had to pass literal shit in an alley to get to the flat.
you'll be like, why is no one's butler just cleaning up their room for them? I don't understand this.
Have you done anything else,
I've got
Alex?
a cleaner. Where are your cleaners? Other than reminiscing, yeah. Have you done anything else?
Other than reminiscing, yeah, I have. I also went shooting.
Oh yeah, did your butler help you with that? Oh please, butler, can you pass me the second shotgun? It's got a better range for these types of shootings.
Jeeves, reload for me, sir.
Actually, it's a one-person job, and when you're holding the gun, you have to be very serious. And there's a lot of tweed, and I don't know where they're all buying their tweed from. all these shotgun-wielding weenuses.
Posh cunts.
It wasn't that fun.
You've
when you
never
fire
held your gun seriously, mate. You've never held it seriously, but you're waving that thing around all the time.
I thought when you'd fire a gun, you'd feel it in your penis.
It's like having two, like in Superbad, it's like having 2 cocks.
There you go, I'll set you up for that.
Thank you.
God.
James, what you've been doing?
I know, one thing I did do is I commented on Alex's story saying it's the most Tory thing he's ever done. Maggie Thatcher was clapping to him from hell.
You've gone on a gap yacht. You've gone on a gap yacht to Vietnam and Thailand. Don't you lecture me, boy.
You did literally go on a gap yacht. You went on a gap yacht.
I went to Asia for 3 weeks at the age of 29, turning 30 while in Asia.
Oh, we
gap
just had to
yacht.
go see the
midlife crisis.
Oh, gap yacht.
I had to wait till I had my own finances of a 30-year-old to be able to go to Asia for 3 weeks. So gap yacht.
Very quickly, the funniest thing about you saying you had to wait until your 30s to have the expenses to go to Asia when you were actually unemployed is great irony.
That is quite funny, because I did pay for most of it while I was still employed. The unemployment did help fund some of Asia. Also, Asia's real cheap. I think I didn't spend that much money.
Anyway, what have you done this week, James, other than 8 months ago?
I binge read a manga, which I'm going to save for another day to have my rant about, because I don't have the energy to moan so much today about it. Well, I really want to fucking moan about it.
Did you say mango when you went manga?
Manga. I don't think I said mango.
Definitely said mango. You definitely said mango.
I'll let you guys know tomorrow when I edit this.
I
heard
that. Mango sticky rice in Thailand. You got me all thinking about my trip.
I heard mango. I was like, I'm pretty sure he said mango. Thought I'd mention it. Anyway, you read a manga that you're not going to mention. What else did you do?
I'll bring that up next week. No, this week I'm very happy that my favourite music artist has released probably his last project ever.
P. Diddy.
And it's wonderful. It's fantastic. No, P. Diddy, fortunately, no. This
R.
rapper
Kelly.
did punch this. He did punch P Diddy. J. Cole did punch P Diddy, in a nightclub, which is fun. Yeah, he's released the Fall Off. I very much like it. He has a song in it where he raps
about P Diddy.
The retrospective beef of Biggie and Pac if it never happened, which is quite a fun song. But yeah, very happy, very excited. He's Fight tour for the first time in fucking years, and I will be going to that. I will be calling on anyone I know with an O2 phone membership to be fucking helping me get tickets.
Fuck, you must be so annoying at those gigs because you're so tall. You must just obscure like 9 people's view.
I felt so bad because where me and my partner ended up when we went and saw Tyler the Creator was on a cable run with the cable covers.
Oh, so you're even bigger.
So I was like another inch taller, and I felt terrible.
But you felt so much bigger that you were like, I don't care.
No, I didn't care because there was some twat who wouldn't stop shouting, "Play the Grinch! Play the Grinch!"
Is that
because
a song,
Tyler Creator,
or was he just really nostalgic for Christmas?
No, Tyler the Creator did the score for the newer Grinch movie.
Did he?
That's so random.
That's a nice little film fact.
Oh yeah, good point. We should probably try and relate this section to films we've watched. I haven't watched any. I started Wonder Man. It's excellent.
Oh, I also watched Master and Commander the other day as well, which is a fantastic film.
That is That is a long film. It's
2 hours.
I thought it was 3 hours. Master and Commander.
Master and Commander. Well, yeah. Time flies when you're having fun.
Fair enough.
Remember, this podcast does exclusively 1 hour and 30-minute films.
Yeah, and this 1 hour 40-minute film was long. Me and my partner started to watch season 2 of the US Traitors.
Do you not find the presenter so annoying?
Well, Alan Cumming? No, I like Alan Cumming. He's funny. I've enjoyed this season so far just because it has
Chandler really likes Alan Cumming.
I do like Alan. I like when Alan is coming.
Got him.
Ekin-Su, I'm not Love Island. I don't watch Love Island at all. Like, I don't watch Love Island at all, but there's a Love Island from the Ekin-Su, which is a UK Love Island person. Yes, James?
Just feel like we need to teach, sorry to cut you off, but we need to teach Alex a little bit about podcasting a year into this podcast. That is, when you make a face, the only people that will see that is on our Substack. Please subscribe when it is up. But other people will only get to listen to it. So when you make vomit faces, no one can hear it. So you need to actually make the noises.
I wasn't really doing it for them. I was doing it for you, to make you happy.
But you need to do it for them as well.
Anyway, and also on the season 2 of US Traitors is John Burko, who was the former Speaker of the House of Commons.
To please tell me at one of the round tables he sits there and goes, order.
Well, in the very first episode when they're like introducing all like themselves to each other, he says obviously, and he literally the next shot of him just going, order. It's quite funny. I
imagine that's what he says when he finishes. Order.
I've heard my voice doing that. Me and my part, we also started watching The Night Manager. Came out a couple weeks ago, but we'd never seen it, so we've gone back and started watching it from the first season. It's actually quite good, with Tom Hiddleston, Olivia Colman, and Hugh Laurie. About like a former army guy turned night manager of a hotel. He gets like, what's the word I'm looking for?
On the original series, is it about him being in a country that just is in the midst of a revolution?
That's the first episode. Yeah. It's that one.
Okay.
And then he gets embroiled into like espionage and some guy rich billionaire arms dealer he's gonna take down because he killed someone. It's good. It's enjoyable. I'd recommend it. I've only watched the first 2 episodes, but enjoyable. And the other thing, I've not had much time for much else, but the interesting that's happened to me or happening to me this week is I'm gonna start doing my UEFA C coaching badge this week. Had the introductory call the other day, and the actual face-to-face sessions start in a couple of days. So I'm looking forward to that.
These kids are cooked. I know your football philosophy. Absolute hoofball. Tough tackles, that's it. Just absolute anti-football. You're just going to create a team of thugs.
Yes, I am.
Just a PSA for all those listening. We are going to butcher some pronunciations, but thankfully the characters in this film are all named after very simple one-syllable words in English, so we won't struggle there. But when we pronounce their actor names, please give us a break. Directed by Yimou Zhang, and the Jet Li masterpiece Hero received a 7.9 on IMDb, a 94% from critics on the tomato meter on Tomatoes, and 87 from the fans, from the audience, and then Letterboxd it got a 4, which is a nice change because everything we do on Letterboxd has a 3-point-something rating. In this visually arresting martial arts epic set in ancient China, an unnamed fighter, Jet Li, is being honoured for defeating 3 of the king's most dangerous enemies. When Nameless, played by Jet Li, recounts his battles with the assassins Broken Sword, Flying Snow, and Moon, the king begins to question some of the details. As Nameless goes on, the king challenges the tales, interjecting his own take on these perhaps suspect versions of events. And I realised that description misses out Sky, who was also an assassin.
Yeah.
Who he fought. So, initial thoughts going into this film before watching it. I know you didn't have long because it was a very last-minute choice.
You were reading Chandler just moon. I just saw Chandler just mouth the word moon, and it caught me off guard. I stopped listening to you after that.
It was because of the way James said the word moon. It made me laugh as well. Moon.
Yeah, I was scanning over my days that the woman that plays Flying Snow is a long name, and I couldn't find the next assassin.
Fair. The reason it was a very last minute choice, I was about to say, is that James, when we said James was like, I want to pick this film, and it was a film about Genghis Khan, and James didn't realise that ancient history is very different to medieval history.
I didn't realise that ancient history was a specific time period and thought it just basically meant very old, which it technically does, but medieval isn't old enough. So catch our medieval trilogy at some point within the next year.
To include, most likely, something about a pope, something about Henry VIII, and Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
Monty Python, surely.
Yes,
Holy Grail.
surely. Anyway, back to this film. James, when you sent that this was your pick, I immediately went, oh, that's a very James film. But I was excited to watch it because I'd like a good action film and a good martial arts film, so I was excited to watch it.
I did not read up on this film at all when you sent it, and then within 10 minutes of watching it, I was very happy that you picked it, because that's exactly what this podcast is for. I never would have watched this film in a million years.
Yeah, that's why I picked it. I was after the two,
and I was very, very happy about that.
Based upon Greek myth and stories. Well, not myth, sorry, Greek actual stories. We've already gone over this. It's not myths. I wanted to pick something that wasn't in that region, and all the best films kept coming up as set in that area. I nearly picked, I think it's called Agora, not to be mistaken with Anora, a film definitely not based upon Greek myth, but go listen to that podcast. How many plugs have I done already? And we're like 5 minutes in. Agora is like in Egypt, but it's still set up on like the Roman army in Egypt.
How did we not do
actions.
And how did we not do an Egyptian film for ancient history?
There
that
aren't,
would have been
honestly,
so cool.
I didn't find enough.
Carry on.
We could have just probably done like a fucking The Mummy.
The Mummy.
So I thought there's got to be some like ancient Chinese propaganda out there.
And this hit the nail right on the head.
And then we've got a nice little Jet Li magnum opus.
Anyone want to say anything?
Sorry, I've just found the most terrifying ancient Egypt film I've ever seen. It's called The Pyramid. I'll let you guys read up on it. What we're talking about?
We should probably talk about the historical context of this film, because I don't think anyone has. Well, I might be underestimating our listeners, but I don't know how many people have a knowledge of ancient China. Whereas I feel like in Western media we get a lot of, exposure to ancient Greek and Roman myth and stories and history. I think even in school we're taught a lot of that because it's the basis of a lot of our society. So, did you guys read up upon the historical context? Because this isn't necessarily like a true story. This is like a story set in that world, in that time.
I didn't look up the thousands of years of ancient Chinese history. However, I did sort of kind of know the basis of when China was being formed, essentially, that it was provinces, etc., and then it took one a king, leader, whatever you want to call it, dynasty to bring it together, essentially, as one country. That's
our land.
Yeah, our land. That's the only real sort of background knowledge I had of ancient Chinese history.
Yeah,
and the fact they have a massive wall.
They've got a big old wall, and I'm similar to Chandler. I don't know that much about Chinese history. I know that there was a lot of dynasties that happened, and I know it all used to be broken up. I know the Japanese did some terrible things during the Second World War, but that's about as far back as I go.
Yeah, I mean, as Charles said, I didn't research 1,000 years of ancient Chinese history because that might have been a little bit excessive, but I did read up about the 7 warring kingdoms, 2,000 years even, the 7 warring kingdoms, of which this is the time period this is based off, which is kind of around 400 BC, give or take. And this kind of follows a story in the lead up to the Qin dynasty. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Ming dynasty, isn't
Qin
it?
dynasty.
Qin dynasty?
It's Qin.
Qin?
Qin dynasty.
Is it not Quinn?
No, it's Qin. Qin dynasty.
Oh.
So sorry for being racist.
We're trying our damn best to pronounce stuff correctly. That's not racist. What Alex sent in the group chat is 100% racist.
I don't know if you're referencing something true there.
Too coy. We know he's the racist one. The Qin dynasty, and then following that. So there probably were assassination attempts on the king of Qin.
So on that point, I know we were going to sort of come onto it later about the actual factual things of this story. The film is loosely based on an assassination attempt of the King Quinn, wherever you want to pronounce it.
Yan Qin.
The
King of Qin.
So the film is
Alex
loosely
can't handle that it's pronounced Chin.
The
Should
film
we get it out of the system?
It's the way you just keep saying the King of Chin. I just imagine some crimson chin sat there. Sorry, continue.
The film is loosely based on an actual true assassination attempt. I think the way the film is framed, with the nameless assassin coming to tell stories of how he's killed other assassins, so he can get praise or to get close to the king, is fictionalized, but it is loosely based on an actual assassination attempt.
We'll touch on the film's structure later, because I found it really, really interesting the way it is portrayed, and it kind of takes you about half an hour to get to the point where you realise how it is portraying the events being told. However, it's important to note that this is a film genre that doesn't really exist in Western culture so much, called, again, butchering pronunciations, wuxia.
You sound like Adam
And
Sandler doing a whooshay.
Bobby Boucher.
Sorry. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly.
That was it. It was just the word Bobby Boucher. It's just the name. That was it.
We've mentioned it too many times not to do our Adam Sandler series trilogy this year. Must be done.
It must be done.
Absolutely must be done. But the wuxia genre gave me a lot of context to a lot of the way this film was shot and the themes. It's not just a film genre; it's a media genre in general. So it is featured in ancient Chinese painting, in comics, books, film, television, everything. But essentially, it means martial warrior. That's the pronunciation. And they are martial arts films based upon a realistic, real backdrop, such as the ancient Chinese setting here. However, they incorporate fantastical elements into the fights. But everything else should be grounded in realism. But the fights are allowed to not be. They're allowed to be exaggerated. And damn, that helps provide a lot of context to the random superpowers essentially in the movie.
I don't even think superpowers is the right word. I don't think so. Just powers is fine. Weird little tricks is fine.
I found the weird way that points to accentuate strength essentially and skill rather than these things actually happening.
I don't know.
Which is what cinema's for.
I don't know, to be honest. When I was watching the film and all the fight scenes, yes, they are pretty cool to watch in very rare places.
Very rare.
I think the effect of people swinging, of like twirling through the air, was the only effect they could think of, and used it 57 times, and it became very boring and repetitive.
No, the one that they used 57,000 times is where people are clearly just attached to cables on a green screen and are just gently lifted up and then floated forward. That really takes you out of the film, because you're like, they're lifting and they're moving and they're flying, and then you get into a big action shot, a big action scene where they're just having a sword fight. You're like, okay.
We can see the influence, though, in other things, and how those actions are ultimately, even in the film, when they're talking about the technique he might use to kill the king, are about accentuating his skill and power, and how he's Nameless, who Jet Li plays, is the most strongest swordsman anyone's ever encountered, and any of the other assassins shown. So it's important that they show strength in a way. Yeah, you have to remember this is a 2002 film from China, so I'm not expecting those points to look great. But also, there's I just remember the CGI from Spider-Man 1 so bad. These things can take you out of a film, but you're not going to go back and look at Spider-Man 1 badly.
Do you know what's really funny?
Spider-Man 1 is a kid's film, to be fair.
Do you know what's really funny? I actually rewatched about 40 minutes of Spider-Man 1 the other day. It was just on. And the effects are great.
No, they're not.
No,
they're not.
There's like 3 or 4 when he's climbing up a wall which look a bit odd, but the rest are like pretty good.
It's so rubbery. It's so rubbery.
I would go on, Alex.
I would say with these fight scenes, the first half an hour of the film, I was like, this is a bit weird, but I could get into this. It's the fact that they happen so regularly, I think.
It's weird that last week for me. Last week when we were doing 300, James sort of pointed out that the story structure of the film is skirmish after skirmish after skirmish after skirmish after skirmish with nothing real in between. That's what this film is.
I think this has a lot more narrative context to the fights than 300, where it was just fights. I think we can move into the structure a bit here, because I think it's really cleverly done and explains why you have so many fights. Also, this is wuxia. This is a martial arts film.
Yes, it is a martial arts film. So while we're on the story structure, so the film is set out as the Nameless character, Jet Li's character, wanting an audience with the king because he's killed 3 assassins who have all attempted to kill their king, and it's about him telling the story of how he killed those assassins, recounting it in every detail. And there are some twists on the way that the king sort of realizes he's lying, and then he goes, "This is probably what happened," and then it's actually revealed how it actually happened and why Nameless is actually there. I feel that because there's so many fights and because the fighting between the same characters are done about 5 different ways, the same way 5 different times, the fight scenes become repetitive and boring after a while. And I think the structure of the film would have been better placed if the structure had been in real time, essentially. If you had basically grown up with Nameless, like why he essentially wanted to kill the king, because that's what's revealed. So why he, as a young boy, wanted to grow up, kill the king, then his plan, then doing this, instead of going back the same time, like going back 3 times to the same 3 sets of characters fighting in different ways. I felt that very boring. Just because the fight scenes became very repetitive, the film became very boring halfway through.
The fight scenes are repetitive and they do go on for a long time, but I'm not as opposed to the storytelling. Like, I think because I think with foreign language films, you have to watch them twice, really.
Do tell.
Because you're reading while watching. Because you're reading while.
Yeah. But
yeah,
as for someone who watches a lot of stuff with subtitles, even now, like even in English, because I'm my partner is
sound mixing in modern television and film can be awful, and you can't hear words sometimes.
But I watch pretty much everything with subtitles because my partner is hearing impaired, right? So I don't feel like, hey, look, I'm not a slow enough reader that I can, every word on screen is like, right, I'm only looking at the words. You can still take in the subtitles as well as taking in the frames and the fight scenes and everything else. And bear in mind, during fight scenes, there are very little dialogue anyway.
No, there isn't there.
I wholeheartedly disagree with that. It should have been Jet Li's character growing up and been linear. I think
I'm not saying.
Wait, hang on. Complete misunderstanding.
Wait 1 sec. I'm not saying we should see him fully grow up. I'm just saying we should have seen the structure. I think the actual film would have been more interesting seeing it in a linear way than in this way. That's what I think
that's a very basic. I think that's a very misunderstanding of what they're trying to do with the material they have and how they're trying to tell it specifically. I think if you have it all happen in a linear, spoon-fed way, that may be more akin to what Western audiences normally see. We have to remember it is a different style of cinema, but I think that completely takes away the slight surprise and mystery when you work out what's really going on. And what's so interesting outside, we've talked a lot about the fighting. So to get closer to Jet Li's character needs to get within 10 steps of the king to perform a technique, 10 paces to be able to kill the king, to perform his technique that he's had to prove to all the other assassins. In this story, he starts off retelling the king the story of how he killed someone called Sky, then killing the couple Snow and Broken Sword and his protege Moon. And then the king clocks inaccuracies with his story, having met these people before, also having nearly been assassinated by these people before, and tells a story he believes is more likely. And then we get the truth from Nameless, from Jet Li. And these aren't told, they are shown to you. And what's very important in that they are shown to you because they don't tell it.
No. I would say they're 50-50. Like when the king realizes he's inconsistency and he's lying, he like spells it out, and then it shows you what the king shows you what he thinks happened.
In between, there is, I think, a very important part of the movie is the conversation between Nameless, Jet Li, and the king, because yes, it does ground and give you context to each of those flashbacks, whether they're true or false, and you're led to believe you don't know what to believe is true or false until quite late in the movie. And I think if you serve it in a linear way, you lose all of that really interesting, unique storytelling.
But
because it is more than just... At first, I was like, oh, it's just a flashback film. And I was like, oh, no, these are lies, which is kind of crazy.
Fair enough. I do disagree in the way that you're saying, oh, it's just you... I mean, I sat there from the first time he starts telling the flashback. I was like, it's so obvious that he's lying. He's definitely lying. There's going to be a twist. Yeah, 100%. Like, I'm sat there for the first half an hour going, there's probably parts of this, what he's saying are true, but it's obvious that Jet Li is going to be, if there's going to be a twist, then Jet Li is going to be an assassin trying to kill the king.
I didn't think he was lying.
Like
I thought Jet Li would be an assassin as well, because he wanted to get close to the king, and that was the reward.
But as soon as you realise that,
as
soon as you realise that he's an assassin wanting to kill the king, then you realise, well, all of what he's saying is bullshit, because he's saying it in the way of, I'm doing this because I'm a proud person of the Qin province. So you realise that it's a lie. So it becomes as soon as you go that, then you're like, well, the first hour of the film is pointless. Because remember, this isn't the first film. Like, this film did come out in the early 2000s, so this isn't the first film to have ever been shown to any kind of audience, Western or Eastern or wherever, with non-linear storytelling.
But it's more than non-linear storytelling, is my point. And it is rarer in Western films. There are.
I disagree.
I disagree
basically because
fake stories for a big proportion of the film, which is basically not a negotiation, but an argument between two characters trying to gain something and understand something, is really interesting and very unique in my opinion.
I disagree that it wasn't unique. So because you had 4 Tarantino films in the 90s that do it, and he is heavily inspired by world cinema, and especially Eastern cinema,
especially Asian cinema.
Yeah, exactly. So to kind of say that non-linear storytelling was so out of the book in 2002.
You're completely missing my point. I never said non-linear storytelling isn't done. I said this way, where most of the story is fake, explain to where most of the story is fake. 3/4 of the film is fake, and then that is all a basis for two characters' discussion, where they're both after something. The king after information, and Jet Li to try and assassinate him. They're both in a verbal tussle that is then explained through these beautiful visuals of fight scenes and character moments between the other characters, is absolutely not normal non-linear storytelling. It is unique.
It's very specific to the makers of the film, the good people of the Chinese Communist Party. They would have their main character lying to the state, and the state telling them the truth. The truth of what happened. And yet this person insists on lying to the state. And what do they get for that? They get punishment. Because you should never lie.
Hey, at the end, the king... So when he does get the opportunity at the end of the film to assassinate the king, the king gives him his sword to say, do it. And he doesn't. He deliberately fails based upon... Which I thought was quite nice. So even though it is the propaganda piece, broken sword, the most other elite assassin chose not to kill the king 3 years prior. He said we shouldn't kill him for our land. This is our land, which is also kind of what China and something they do actually call their country. It means a couple of different things, but one of them is our land.
It means the one China policy.
And basically, the idea is that if we assassinate the king, the warring won't stop. We need the king to basically win the war with the other dynasties to make one China.
To keep us all together.
Put them all together. So it's a bit like, and he chooses not to kill him. But in the end, the king is shown he clearly doesn't want to kill the assassin, but his cabinet all rush in and are like, you must execute him, you must execute him, you must execute him.
Really, what I thought was funny extras in little black cloaks.
very, very theatre-esque scene.
Yeah. To be fair, actually, I did it. That's a good comparison. I like that comparison, James. I also just want to state that it's very off-brand for you to be outward liking a film that is so right-wing totalitarian propaganda of one leader must kill everyone else to make land strong.
I think you've missed the point there, Chandler. I think they're so far left that they come back round.
It's a circle. It's a circle.
I would prefer probably the assassin to have got revenge, because I think I quite like a revenge story in a film. Because Nameless he's from the Zhao region, and the
province,
the Qin dynasty annihilated his entire village and killed he grew up an orphan, and he had a 10-year plan to assassinate. So I kind of would have liked to have seen him fulfill that and seen the outcome afterwards. But obviously this is leading to the point of the Qin dynasty winning in the real world. But I think that my theatre point there accentuates almost also it makes a point to the fight scenes, in the sense that these are moments that are being exaggerated for a grander purpose. The fight scenes are exaggerated for a grander purpose, and thus that is a moment that is exaggerated for a grander purpose. Also, to have 18,000 extras in the film.
All members of the Chinese People's Army.
Were they actually?
They were. Well, according to some trivia I found, yes, they were.
You've pulled that fact out of nowhere. Like, it's a great fact, don't get me wrong. 18,000 extras is a mental number of people. But you've just gone, very factual, blah, 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 blah. 18,000 people were in this film.
One thing I do want to touch on before we talk about some bit more of maybe the plot and the vision. Okay, go on.
I was just going to say
both
that,
if you want.
I was just going to say that I can agree with you that the fight scenes are meant to, the fictional elements of the fight scenes are meant to, what's the word you use? More purpose, the fight scenes, is that the word you used? I can't remember now. What's the
purpose of the fight? Some of the actions in the fight scenes is meant to accentuate and exaggerate.
Thank you.
More other points and make them more powerful within the plot. And they just have a purpose.
That's what you're saying. No, I do agree with that. However, back to the point I was trying to make is that you see very similar fights 4 or 5 times, makes them repetitive, which almost lessen the points that they're trying to exaggerate and build a greater purpose for.
They are repetitive, but I would just focus on the red fight, because that one is where it just gets the most batshit crazy. where one of them is just flying all over the place. They end up fighting above the trees. Like, I get that, like James's point, where they're trying to give them superhero powers and make it an awe-inspiring sight. But it's just
fantasy,
weird, man.
The fantasy part.
Yeah, fantasy. But it's weird when it's happening at such slow pace. You don't actually see anyone die, I don't think, until like near the end, when someone gets stabbed. But
I also disagree that that's the most batshit fight. I think the most batshit fight is the one on the lake, with just swords dipping in and out the water for no fucking reason. And you're like, what the fuck? And the water, just like one tear gets on her face as she's lying there, apparently dead. And you're just like, the fuck's going on? Why can they run on water? Why is Jesus there?
So that was one of the fake fights. And
was it fake?
I think no, but one of the fake fights in the story.
You mean one of the fights that the king thinks happened, essentially?
Yeah, it's not the real story that Jet Li tells at the end. My point is, it's one of the fake fights, but also I read somewhere, and I don't know where this came from, but someone said that specific fight was very much a mental fight, because they are shown he's the other skilled assassin, and they don't really ever fight during the film, nor do they want to fight each other. And generally, snow has always got in the way. So that film being extra batshit, which was some of the imagery I quite liked, I thought actually looked quite good, and then some of it was mental, like the bouncing it off the water like it was some Newtonian fluid that's going to push you out of it and make you jump really high into the air. But then the single tear like landing on her face and almost showing that she like is almost like crying because they're fighting. She doesn't want her loved one to die, but he wants to die with her. And then also he doesn't want anything to sully her dead body either. And then at the end of it, kind of Jet Li pulls out of killing him. And that's when he has this weird, like, rubber band snap back into the water, and he's spinning because he doesn't know how to control it. Which I was like, okay, this is a bit silly. And
I'm glad you admit that.
And I don't think it would be silly if it didn't look dated. I think if you did it now with some incredible special effects, you'd probably make it look okay.
No, because that's the style, though, isn't it? It's meant to look batshit crazy.
It is a start, yeah.
It is
do you
meant to
not
look
agree that
batshit
that
crazy.
point of him pulling out? I think I like it if it is supposedly a battle of the minds and they're not having it, because it matches up with Jet Li's character agreeing with Broken Sword and not killing the king at the end.
I don't know.
It's like the moment he's like, okay, I'm not gonna kill the king if I get the opportunity, which I quite like that.
Yeah.
And again, I think there's points in this where you're meant to make your own, especially in the fight scenes. They're meant to show that you're meant to kind of read into them more of a physical battle, but also a battle of the minds anyway.
I'll say two things. I disagree that you're meant to read more into them, because if you're meant to read more into them, then they wouldn't have shown you the truth of what actually happened at the end, because then that's just telling you, that's outright telling you, therefore you don't need to read into anything else in the film. The second thing I was going to say is actually even more batshit crazy than that, is just the fake thing at the first fight scene we see between Sky and Nameless, when they're like just standing there with the music playing and they're like, we're having a fight in Brain in Mentor. You're like, what the fuck? Just have the fight. Why why does it need to be with some weird filter like it's in your dreams? Just have the fight. It was a cool scene though.
The first fight with Sky, I have to say, is the first fight with Sky is possibly the best fight scene I've ever seen in any movie ever, and it's not so surprising because have I stolen Alex's bit?
No. I had something really good I wanted to say and I forgot it. I was really annoyed and I've just remembered it, so I'm trying to make sure that it stays in my brain until you finish speaking.
So, what? Lagged for me.
Well, yeah, actually, since you've stopped now, anyway, I'm just going to say it. Following on from Chandler's point for both of your points on the storytelling, I think they do want you to make up your own mind, because, as I said before, you will eventually get to the end of the film and see that the king was right. So they should have listened to the king all along. You should blindly follow your leader, because they're always correct.
James, what were you trying to lead us on to originally before I started talking again?
Me?
Yeah.
No, so yeah, one thing I just wanted to say is, I have to say, is the first fight scene with Sky, which is had the two actors that are the most, the two actors that are the best martial artists on set, so Jet Li and Donnie Yen. That fight scene is maybe the best fight scene I have ever seen in media ever. Yeah, especially in live action.
Some of the shots that they use where you're like behind them as they're fighting, so that there's no way that they can really use that much trickery on it. That is beautiful. That is stunning. Those first 15-20 minutes of the film where you're looking at shots like that, where the camera's moving around them while they're fighting, you're like, this is incredible. When you've seen it 57 times and you're only 45 minutes into the film, it really wears off.
That was the first fight, though, to be fair. And I do think
that's what I mean.
Starting with the best fight is probably a mistake. Because there was
all downhill from there.
Way less. There was I thought in that fight, the superpowered nature of it, which we shouldn't actually be down on, because it's done in Western media all the time. Fast and the Furious, even the first ones of those, for example, or
the critically acclaimed Fast and the Furious,
with Black Widow, or the fucking Daredevil series, where these characters shrug off shotgun shots to the chest. Either way, but that first fight does all of that really tastefully, I think, and the speed of it is like nothing I've ever seen before. But I will say the direction, a bit like what we said last week with a good use of slow-mo in 300. I really liked the use of slow-mo and then also fast cuts. And in all of the fights, but in this fight specifically, the mix of slow-mo with extended periods of real time, which is just absolutely unbelievably fast. I have never felt more sorry for and more impressed by a cameraman ever in my life. Imagine you've got to be that cameraman with a fucking spear and a sword flinging around at 100 miles an hour by the most talented martial artist in cinema, and you're there having to match choreography to their fight scene. Fuck that. Absolutely no way.
A martial art within itself, some would say. But
mate, his camera's his weapon.
Exactly. I would also credit the sound in that scene as well. The sound is incredible. That was one thing I noted down along with the camera work.
Yeah, and we've talked about it in the past with fight scenes in a lot of, again, Western films where they just kind of suck and nothing hits, especially in older ones. Nothing feels like it has any weight to it. And the two Asian films we've watched, they never had that problem. They never had that problem when everything felt like it hit when it connected, which I think is a testament to their style of cinematography.
While we're talking about cinematography, I think the one thing I do agree with most of what you said, that that first fight scene is pretty cool and the visuals are amazing. Cinematography in this film is pretty stunning. I will give it that. There are some absolutely beautiful images in this film, like the red fight with all the leaves, the lake fight, as batshit crazy as it is a great image. One that they had to film for 2 hours a day because the director wanted like the lake to be still, like no tide essentially. He had like a window of 2 hours a day to film on it, so that's pretty cool. And it is stunning to look at most of this film. And that is a testament to the direction and the cinematography.
I'm glad you both have mentioned the red fight and the colours, because all the fights are kind of represented by a colour, and I think that hits more when you understand how important colour is to Chinese culture. Red is a super important colour. I think it's might be worn at weddings. It's very culturally important. It means, I think, good luck at points, and obviously it is there to symbolise blood and etc. in battle as well. But one part I really liked is the blue scene with Snow and Sword kind of emotionally making that decision to take part in the assassination of the king and having that conversation where I think they're both going to fight Jet Li, but then she stabs him and injures him on the mountain, and it's all steeped in blue. The characters are tinged blue, their clothing's pale, the mountains all look blue, it looks very cold, and in Chinese, blue means calmness and it means healing. I just don't know. I took that as he's not going to die here because he was only injured, and also they were both making an important decision that they were okay with. There was no fear. They were calm, but they were maybe fearful of losing each other, etc., which I really liked. And it took real collaboration with the director of cinematography and the costume department and the set designers to really lean on these moments and these colour themes as well. I thought it was really nicely done, and I feel like something like that can be so egregious, and I just didn't think it was.
Right, it's time for takes, and we were stuck for what to do this week, so we've actually turned to our great Xi Jinping. That Chandler should be the one to go for. Oh, sorry, he has decided that Qian Duli will go first.
How do you say thank
That's
you
how
in
he said it on the
Chinese,
phone.
guys?
Shishi.
Shishi.
And
It's like you learned nothing from Rush Hour.
Bukachi.
I will give this film two things before I absolutely shit on it. I would agree that that the first fight scene is incredible to look at. I think it's very well choreographed. I think the camera work is amazing in it. I will also agree that most of the film is stunning to look at, and the director of photography deserves all the awards for that. It is a beautifully well shot film. Actually, the other point I'll give this film is the costume design is pretty damn accurate and is well done for every character and can show off things about all the different characters, about why they wear those types of outfits and clothing. I think those are all really good. However, in saying all of that, this film is absolutely bullshit. This film is so repetitive, is so boring, that those, even though it is beautiful to look at and the fight choreography is really good, it is so not worth your time. This film is such a style over substance movie. It is an absolute joke. The thing I equated it to while I was watching it is John Wick, which again is kind of a bullshit story, but because the style of it is incredible and the film is the action is so interesting and the actual way the story is told to you is interesting and it is not repetitive, I don't care. I love John Wick. However, this film is going for style over substance, but the way the plot is shown to you and the way the film becomes so repetitive after 40 minutes, the film just bores you and bores you. And after about an hour and 20 minutes of film, you feel like you've been watching the same film for 4 hours. And I just can't get over that, even though the first three things are incredible. And the other annoying thing about this film is that Jackie Chan declined the role of the king. That would have just made it a better movie. So, you know, yeah, I'm glad we watched it because I never would have watched this before. But I'm so annoyed I've wasted an hour and 40 minutes of my life watching this film. So, Alex, what was your take?
Firstly, it is worth your time. The storytelling is... The techniques in the storytelling are definitely worth your time in terms of expanding your film knowledge and just variety. And yeah, but also very thankful to James for picking this because we never would have watched this in a million years, me and Chandler, because it's not part of the Fast and Furious franchise. And it's all me and Chandler watch. It's just drifting cars and ladies on bonnets.
I've only ever seen the first Fast and Furious.
Not even seen
I haven't seen any of them.
Or Too Fast, Too Furious with Ludacris.
I've not actually, no.
Ludicrous.
But I've seen that very famous clip of better hide your baby oil, better hide the damn biggest forehead. Sorry.
Totally. I feel like I invited this. I've totally derailed my own take. I opened the door to this. Anyway, I'll get us back on track. I have highlighted 6 things from stuff I wrote down while watching the film. The first one is very pretty wide shots. There are a lot of those, and there's some spectacular scenery in it. I think it's very similar to The Boy and the Heron in that there's just a lot of nice things to look at during the film. The fight scenes are cool. There's no getting around that. They are cool. They get very repetitive, and as James said, it started with the best one, so you could probably just watch the first 20 minutes of this film and then read the rest of the story in the Wikipedia page.
Ergo, not a very good film.
The sound and camera work on this film is impeccable, so big ups to the director, the DOP, and the rest of the crew. Actually, no, not the rest of the crew. Apparently the catering was terrible.
Rest of the 18,000 people.
Yeah, and thank you for the Chinese Liberation People's Army for being in it. I also wrote very interesting, super pretentious. That was just after the first fight, because I knew it was going that way, and it was. The amount of jumping that people do in this film makes me think it was incredibly fun to film, which I bet it was. And, of course, finally, this film was brought to you by the Chinese Communist Party. So, I would give it 5 chicken feet out of 7.
That feels racist, but solid ratings.
Thank you.
That feels racist. I'm not sure what it is, but it feels racist.
It just
doesn't feel quite right.
Is the racism in the room with us right now?
Also, just on the word pretension, the whole time I was watching this film, I just kept going, James, you pretentious for making me watch this.
So like
that scene, very quickly, like that scene in Social Network of Andrew Garfield going, "Sorry, my hoodies at the cleaners along with my fuck you flip flops, you pretentious douchebag." That's all that kept going through my head. You may do your take, James.
Sorry, happy take, James.
Now that we've had Alex's balanced take and Chandler being on brand and not liking anything outside of his comfort zone ever.
No, I love things out of my comfort zone normally. This is rubbish.
I look back at this podcast, and that's absolutely not the case.
I'm gonna look back through our episodes. Stand by.
Now, I thought this was. I would have never watched this film in a million years, and I'm very glad that I chose it after a lot of looking and searching. I thought it was an excellent film. I think you have to go in understanding what it is. I do think the fight scenes get repetitive, but I didn't lose any entertainment through their repetitiveness. I wasn't ever looking away. I was gripped by the fight scenes because the fight scenes are more than just a gratuitous fight. There's an incredible emotionality throughout the film displayed in the fight scenes. We have an assassin who hates the king, wants to kill him, and doing everything in his power to convince the king that he killed these other assassins that wanted to kill him just so he can have an audience with him and just so he can deceive him. And then we learn that these assassins were friends, comrades, throughout the later telling of the film when the king offers his opinion. And then we find out the true story of the assassin from Zhao who lost everything. The score is incredible. It does have very Western sensibilities and structure and movie style, but is using Asian instruments and really adds to the atmosphere of it. It reminds me a little bit of the soundtracks in the Japanese game series, the Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotei, and those the string instruments that I feel like are just so atmospheric, so emotional. I really loved it. The first fight scene is the best, and you definitely do have to accept the genre that the film is, wuxia. I need to learn how to pronounce it. I do apologise. I've butchered it the whole time.
Feels racist.
Which is a martial arts film. If you're gonna slag off a martial arts film for having too many fights, you probably shouldn't watch it. And if you want more variety, then it should have. Then there were loads of different styles of fighting in this. Every character had their own style, their own techniques, their own visual identity with what they fought with. The first guy fought with a spear, and Sky fought with a spear, which, now that I think about it, is apt naming convention. Broken Sword was a swordsman that doesn't want to fight. And then his partner, Snow, initially the first time you see her, she's fighting, in which you might have seen another media depicting Chinese characters with the sleeves, before she then fights with a sword, and then their protege fights with two swords. There's so much variety to it. And yeah, sometimes the special effects look silly. I'm not going to pretend they don't. But that is the fantastical element. It is there to exaggerate the skill and the power of the people in the movie. And I think that's so easy to turn your nose up at if you just want to ignore every single time it's done in any Western film ever. You can look at any spy film, any James Bond film, any Marvel movie that has real unpowered people, any superhero film, any Fast and Furious. Way more just action nothing films with a bit of quips in there that have limited story do it just the same. If you want a gateway, watch Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi, one of the fights when Shang-Chi meets his mum, is very similar to the fight in The Leaves, with a lot of like the wind looking powers, but it's not powers, it's just affecting the environment to make them look stronger. It's very similar, and you can see the influences in wuxia genre on Shang-Chi so much, and on Kill Bill and lots of other movies and people that have taken inspiration from the East. Propaganda film, don't really care. Watch American Sniper. American Sniper Most of the war films you watch are some form of propaganda for the West. You just happen to live there. So, whatever. Who gives a flying fudge? Great film. I'd rate it 8 out of 10. Or 6 things out of things, like Alex said. I think it was very good. Enjoyed it thoroughly.
The funniest thing out of all that is that you censored yourself to say the word fudge instead of fuck, even though you've never done that on this podcast before, but happened to include it when it was about, but happened to do it around the time of when you're advocating for communist propaganda. That's very, very, very on brand for the change of this episode, James.
Hey, someone's got to do it. Alex is partaking in right-wing activities now.
Right then, that is us 50 and not out. Thank you for listening to our 50th episode. And we have really put together a beautiful wall that you can see from space. And our ruler is always right. Of course, it could be the Chandler or James. We don't know. They have to fight it out to the death at some point. That wraps up our Ancient History Trilogy. And you can join us next week for our 4th take, where we'll be discussing our ratings for the 3 films, getting James a new haircut, and of course what's coming next. Yeah, that's right, we're going to shave you.
You're coming to my house? You're visiting?
Yes. And of course, it's Ji Zhen from Chandler.
Shishao.
You might be closer, because I wrote it down phonetically. I don't know if I'm closer or you're closer.
Is that thank you, or is that goodbye? I don't know.
It's goodbye. Shish is thank you.
Okay, cool.
It's Ji Zhen from James.
Shish.
I'm saying goodbye and you're all saying thank you.
I don't know how to say goodbye. How do you say goodbye?
And it's Shishen. Jishen.
Shishen.
Shishen.
I think. Yeah, I
just want to say, when you get in a taxi in China, like the equivalent of Uber, to confirm you, they ask your last 4 digits of your phone number, and I won't give out my phone number, but the last 2 digits of mine are 5, and 5 is woo. So whenever I'd get in a cab, I'd know I was in the right one because they would just go woo woo.
And then someone from Wetherspoons would give you a picture of woo woo.
Something woo woo. I didn't need to learn the other parts. I just loved it. I just had these like random men just going woo woo. It was lovely. It really brightened my day. Also, wonderful cars. They have wonderful cars.
Feels racist.
That was a much better ending than the one I wrote. I was going to say thank you to the Chinese secret agent for listening to this and bumping up our ratings.
Please don't forget to rate and review the podcast on your platform of choice. It really helps us grow. Make sure to follow us on our socials and our individual Letterboxd accounts. The links can be found in the description or at www.hop2ps.bio/3takes or search for 3 Takes of Stupidity on most platforms. We're most active on TikTok, Instagram and YouTube. Please send us your film and trilogy suggestions to our Hop page on social media, or you can email us at 3takesofstupidity@gmail.com. Thank you and hope to have you back.